pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do I hear a motion to adopt the agenda?
I'll second.
Motion made, seconded, those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We'll move on down to guest speakers, communication, and informational items. We have,
Consent agenda.
A motion to approve the consent agenda.
oh, I'm sorry.
I'll second that.
Do I hear a second?
Yeah.
Okay, motion made and second, those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we have, now we move to guest speakers, communications, and informational items. First thing on here is a letter from Rhonda and Marty Chaluka.
So as ODF&W, where do you stand?
I talked to the guy from Fish and Wildlife, and as far as him coming in and trapping these deer and transporting them, he says it's not feasible, they can't do that. But he did say that if we have some that have become a nuisance, contact them and they will come take care of them. He said other than that, with no hunting season in town, I said, no, that wouldn't be good.
But they are becoming, you see them all over.
Well, it's just, something to be aware of. It's not anything new. I don't know if these
No.
folks are new to the community.
I will go out and talk to him again and have him contact these people here.
Well, why not post season? I mean, this is warmer. It's not warmer, isn't it? Just beware of the target behind the target.
If people get calls like this, I would say we direct them to ODF&W. I mean, there's nothing really.
Yeah, I just got the letter, so I threw it in here. I don't think we have to do anything about it.
So what did they do with the last deer problem? I heard that they had a Paisley. What did they do about the deer problem with Paisley?
I don't know.
Probably had hunting season. I'll bet they all disappeared.
Well, I heard something else. I'm just trying to confirm or deny a rumor that was said about the Paisley deer. About notifying the ODFW and what they did.
Well, you
You
need to ask
need
the
to maybe
Paisley
share that
Council
with
what they
the-
did.
I just heard they shot him and took him out. That's what I heard. Not saying that's true or not, that's what I heard.
I don't
That's why
know.
I'm asking, do you know what the ODFW did about the deer problem in Paisley?
I don't know.
I do know that through trial and error and a lot of experimenting, that the ladies at Bloomers have a deer repellent for your flowers, especially if they're out in front. And trust me, if they won't bother Mrs. Sims out in where she lives, they probably should stay away from here too. But I don't know how you're gonna, I have herds coming down the highway. So,
Okay.
I had 23 in the front yard.
yeah.
The biggest danger of on the highway is that they get scared and run into the street and then get hit, which can injure not only the deer, but someone in the vehicle.
Okay, next on the reason. We've got the LOC bulletin, but I don't have,
It's in the other.
it was in my work session. Yeah.
Back. Should be.
Yeah, you come back, yeah.
Oh. Okay.
It's just as agenda and schedule, isn't it?
Sandy?
Okay.
No, I think it's
Then we have
I lost that.
the Oregon Department of Corrections PAC meeting. This will be June 13th.
On the 16th.
June 13th?
No.
That was 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I'm sorry, it is 16th, okay. I'm looking at the wrong date up there. Yeah,
It'll be when?
Monday the 16th,
Of what?
Of what?
Of July.
July.
Thank you.
Okay, you have nothing left in there. We'll move to public comment period. Do you have any public comments?
This is our time, Chris.
Go ahead.
Gosh, all right.
Give me first.
All right.
Okay, state your name and address for the recorder.
Penny Crane, 604, possibly in 612 North F Street. I recently have become involved with this, and second owner is Chris Rose, to purchase this. I'm retired, waiting on a new knee, finishing up a master's degrees in architect, and I'd like to teach here, and I love teaching music and piano. I'm from the east side, and I've got 3 degrees, and I just love kids and people, and retirement isn't going to do it. So I wanted a project, but not too big, and this is perfect. However, the welcoming committee was not the best, and thankfully the mayor and the chief of police got rid of them, and there was 4 families of squawkers. We got one more, or what you guys call, you know, the people that just kind of sit there and do their jobs.
Squatters?
Yes, and we've got one more we're getting out, and what's stopping this deal is Chris Rose and I are hung up on the water bill. We've resolved the price and all the cleanup and everything that's gotta happen up there. There's back taxes due. This is gonna bring everything current, which hopefully will help you. And I understand, and I don't expect this money to be free just because, hi, you're so lucky I'm here. And you've got a lot of other people that should use it and have it. But I didn't know with a senior citizen, and if there's any grants or programs or anywhere we can finesse. I've met with Jeff, and there really isn't many. There's 4 water meters just on the one house, and there's 2 in the back that haven't been used in years. Their water hasn't been going through the system, but there are the other charges of the upkeep, and I understand that. I'm going to plumb it, and I wire plumb, and I built for 40 years houses. And I had a 10,000 square foot seminary. It was 1860 was my last project, so no more big projects. And it's very easy what can do and what can happen there. I think there's a lot of room to teach different types of art up there also, and keep it quiet for us older people. The bill is over $4,300. Taxes is a little over $3,000. The taxes he is acknowledged and will cover those. The water bill is just terrible. Just to have it put onto my account for me to make payments isn't going to really work, because, you know, Uncle Sam hasn't been as good to me as I thought he should have been for my retirement. But anyways, I just wondered if there's any way, or this problem must exist and have come up before the council. You've got other people probably like me that aren't quite ready to retire, and they want to take multi into a single resident. And I'm not going to, do not want to deal with renters. I've had rentals in Flint, Michigan, and I'm coming out here was just such an eye-opener to that time. So that can't happen. So that's all I have here to say, and I know I sprung this on you, but possibly if you want to encourage people to come here to help with your youth and be a good part. And this is so much like the town I grew up in, Michigan. And my mom's from Oregon, but it's beautiful out here. And I think that the meth problem isn't something that can be conquered. And as I've traveled over the 18 months, it's everywhere. You know, and it's just there, and it's, if we can keep pushing to the south and getting away from the other areas, maybe then you can kind of lasso it. But the last person to be removed is July 3rd, and the closing can start after that if we can resolve something on this water bill. He said that he would pay half if I could pick up half. I really can't afford half. So that's kind of where he and I are at. And I understand, you know him far better than I do. And if there really isn't a lot of forgiveness there, I understand that too, because I sure don't want to get off on a bad foot. That's it. And that's by more than 3 minutes, thank you.
Well, you know, I've talked to you about this. Jeff has talked to you about this. Roberta's talked to you about this. And it's in our city ordinances, and I've always said to people, if you're gonna buy properties or if you're gonna rent a place, look and see if there's any back bills on it. And it seems to me like that you stepped into this and you didn't investigate any of the back, see if there's any back bills or anything. You just came up there and was ready to take over and.
He gave me amounts that weren't true.
Pardon?
He gave me amounts that were not true. And yeah, due diligence before I came up here should have been done.
So, you know, our ordinances are set up and we follow the ordinances, and in our ordinances, you will have to pay that. Unfortunately,
And I built, like I've said, all over, but just Michigan. I've never heard of $3,000 water meter cost, ever. So if they're taken out and someone else buys it and wants to rent again, they're gonna have to pay $3,000 just to have a meter put in? Is that true?
if that's the bill on water, yeah.
No, I'm just talking a water meter fee. The bill's $4,300. But if I say, take these meters out, leave me one, then if somebody else wants to put a meter in, it's gonna be $3,000. I've never heard of that in all the towns and counties in other states, charging that. And again, this is, I guess this is how you do this, but it's pretty steep.
How much is that the price to put in a new meter? 25.
No, the price that she's talking about has nothing to do with installing a meter or anything.
Yeah, this is
It's
just what's due because they're old.
No, I'm talking two things.
Yeah, but if you were to go down to one for the house that you're not gonna have renters,
Right.
and then you sold that property and they did want to have renters, that would be their cost, but it's not $3,000 per meter to have new ones installed.
Oh, I was told that, okay.
No.
How much is it?
It depends on if there's system development charges. Different areas of town are different fees, but it's nowhere near that. That's not even really the issue. You and I never talked about installing new water meters. The issue's always been the back bill.
Well, it's gonna be meters too, because I plumb,
But
and
this is not
how
the
and what
place
we're
to have
gonna
that
do, and
conversation.
I'm just concerned, I'm
I
just
mean,
concerned.
and get the price from us, you know, we shouldn't have to hold up a public meeting.
No, not at all, not at all.
Installing a meter.
No, and just as an example, we had a gentleman buy a house, and 3 months ago he came in because there was a balance of like $5,100. And he did pay it because our ordinance says you will pay, that it goes with the house. And so, you know.
Why doesn't it go with the person, like your electric does?
It's a different entity, I have no idea, but this is what we do as far as the town, and that's the only way we can recoup what has, incurred. Because we still have to pay for sewer debt, and we still have to pay for water debt. And if we allow people to not pay that back, then that falls on everybody else. We have to increase the rates to make sure that debt can get paid every year. And that's why that's the rationale behind it.
Basically, it's really the responsibility of the owner. And you're not the owner yet, I assume. So really, it's the man you're trying to buy the property from. He's the one who's responsible for it, and up until the time you sign and it becomes yours. He's responsible for his taxes.
I know all that.
And if he isn't gonna pay, then I'd be looking for another property.
I one more mouse.
But it is his responsibility, and if you choose to take it on, that's your choice.
The back taxes as well.
Oh, I know, I just,
Yeah.
I'm wondering where are their other hidden fees are.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. Any more, anything else under public comment? Okay, we'll move on to.
Ray,
Oh, I'm sorry.
excuse me. I'm just curious as to where you are. I know you'll be discussing this $10 fee again. I understand that, I'm Maurice Lepley, you know that, my address.
I got
I wondered, somebody said that there was a survey taken on this. I had no idea there was.
Right.
So I wasn't aware of a survey. But I'm hoping that you're reconsidering that. I think the public needs to know what this fee is going to go for, not just for a policeman. I think it needs to, they need to justify where, like the 911, what do they need? I understand the county is responsible for part of the 911. So I mean, in the past it was, and they're certainly countywide. So and one of the guys that spoke before brought up a good point, something about the insurance rating. I'd like to know where we are with that with the fire department. Is our rating still up there so that we do get a break in our real estate insurance?
You know, I'm not sure.
I don't think it's changed for some years. I know that they're working on it right now, Jeff.
Yeah,
And,
we just had a visit from ISO 3 weeks ago, and he's gonna come back down at the end of July and do some metering on the fire hydrants, and that's gonna lower in-town rates, hopefully, and I don't know any reason why it wouldn't. And then we also have quite a number of hydrants to add to the system that'll help all the outlying areas, like our hydrants run all the way out to the prison. That'll take in all those properties.
I just think maybe the public should be aware of those things. I always read your deal in the paper, but
You're one of the few.
I'm not one of those people that has a computer or a smartwatch or on any of that stuff. I just don't care about it.
Yeah, well,
But I do read the newspaper, listen to the radio.
yeah, well, that was up in the next item under old business with the public safety fee. We are going to hold a public meeting at 7 p.m. on the third Tuesday of July.
The third, 17th?
That was going to be my question. When would be the meeting?
At 7 o'clock.
7 p.m. third Tuesday, which is what date?
We're at here.
17th.
Here.
I just think the more you inform the public, you're going to have a better, more support because, like I said, a lot of people don't have a computer and they don't watch it on. Everything's email and all that. Well, that doesn't interest me.
A lot of our information, or at least some of it, like the survey, came out in your water bill.
It didn't come in mine.
It wasn't on mine.
There was a
I didn't see
little
one
thing
in
on
my
the
water
bottom of everybody's water bill, but what we also did is we have put it on the website, and it would say, go to this Survey Monkey, but you'd have to have a computer to do that.
I did not
but
see it on my
anyway,
water
but
bill.
yeah, we are
And I
going to
don't go to
advertise
the
and make sure
site,
more people know.
Okay, so the public meeting is going to be July 17th at 7
7
p.m. What, here? Okay. Do you think this will be big enough?
Oh, yeah.
The big enough for people?
I think it will.
I've done, well, a lot of people have called me since that last meeting, and they're not opposed to, I think they favor more of a levy for police and all of this, rather than tacking on to the water bill. Because what I keep getting is, it's mixing apples and oranges. And again, I just say that, the elderly and the working poor cannot afford, and they just simply are always going to be in arrears on their water bill. And then that $10 is just going to accrue and accrue and accrue. And I think we have to be very, very careful about that. But maybe a levy should be considered.
Well,
And let the people vote then.
Also, a lot of people are concerned that if you pass this now, if you add it on now, next year, if you need something else, you just add another $10. That's not going to be right. That's not going to be feasible or due to the public. I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry.
Just my opinion. Just my opinion. And a few others.
Glad you voiced it.
Yeah. Fine.
Okay, yes.
Peter Chastain, 747 South 9th Street. 2 weeks ago, I posed the question why this was proposed to have been done on the water bill as opposed to an assessment on the property taxes, and I didn't really hear an answer for it. But my objection to doing it on the water bill instead of the taxes stands. The other issue, I think, is $10 a month is $120 a year, and we pay total property taxes, depends on how valuable your house is, but I think it's in the ballpark of about $1,000 a year, maybe $1,200, $1,500, whatever, for a single family house. Am I getting it more or less?
I don't know, it depends on your house, I suppose, a nice house would be like.
Yeah, the point I'm trying to make is that $120 a year to hire one police officer compared with the total tax bill is, let's say, $1,200 a year. That's 10%. 10% of the entire budget that goes toward county and city and everything, our whole taxes. 10% for one police officer. There's something about that math that I'm not understanding, and I would hope that the council could kind of communicate that issue a little bit better, as well as the issue of why not put it on property taxes. Thank you.
Just so you know, that wasn't $130,000 just for a police officer. It was to be split with 911, our dispatch center. So we would have put $65,000 for a police officer to help get another police officer, and then we put $65,000 to pay for our dispatch program, because it is going in the hole every year. And so it wasn't just police officers.
Okay.
It was police and dispatch to give it up. That's just a clarification.
My confusion about the math remains, though, because we have, what, 5 more police officers and a lot of other town programs and a lot of other county programs. And so if you're saying that like 10% of the budget just goes to those 2 things that you mentioned, it seems like that's, on a percentage basis, more expensive than the rest of the budget.
It is.
Okay.
Both police and fire, or police, fire, not as much fire because it's ran by some volunteers, but your 911 center and your police department take up almost all of your revenue, pretty much, I mean, other than water, sewer, to run them. They're very expensive programs to have in your town.
When we are fully manned, correctly?
Pardon me?
When we are fully manned.
Yeah, and we're not even fully manned.
I know.
Yeah.
So we don't have 5.
I know, we have 3.
Yeah.
How much would be raised on $10 a month on all the water bills? What's the total amount on?
About $1,200 a month.
No, I mean for the whole amount of revenue that gets raised in the whole town.
It's about $1,000, a little over $1,000 a month. Well, with $10 a month would bring in a little bit more than that, maybe $1,200.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else on the road business on that? Okay.
We'll see you on the 17th, is that right?
Yeah.
And Lori, if we get enough people that won't fit in this room, we would be thrilled, because we've had, maybe this entire year, twice, we've had most of the seats taken up. And usually, right now, you're a crowd for us.
We did have a full house in here for
Well,
the meet and greet.
I think that something like this will bring out some more people, you know, because a lot of people are, I don't know why they feel afraid to come or something like that, but they shouldn't. I mean, you know, this is their town. And we just have to encourage them that if they have ideas or they have something they want to say, just come and say it, you know. So
You'd think.
Pardon?
You'd think.
We had a large turnout for an evening here at Town Hall Annex in regards to our police department and the needs of a nighttime officer, and that's what stirred the topic of the public safety fee in the first place, because the
Well,
community desired.
I realize all that, Mike, and the thing of it is, it's just like I've always said, you know, I realize there needs to be, you know, some additional funds for police and everything like this, but my issue is mixing apples and oranges too, that water is a commodity for people. And the people, it just can't be on the backs of the people that can't afford it.
And it has nothing to do with water.
I know,
Let's
see,
go back to that,
and so when you put a surtax on, you know, or something like that, and maybe you have a better way of explaining it to the people, but
Well, I think that.
but they can't afford it. I mean, this
What
is
was
what
asked
it
by the
is.
public is to have the hearing or the
Right,
actual
exactly.
chance for people to speak their peace of mind, and it sounds like you've had a lot of people speak their peace of mind to you.
Yeah,
They
that's
need to be
right.
here to speak their peace of mind to us.
Right, and they need to come, that's right.
And the thing is in that meeting, it was very much a big concern that we get 24-hour coverage with our policemen.
Well, there was a large
we don't
turnout
have,
for that,
yeah,
yeah.
there was, and that was a main thing that they wanted. So what we've been trying to do is find a way to fund that. We don't have that money.
Right.
At the current time, we just don't.
And as was brought up
So we're
earlier.
looking for ways to raise that money, to increase that revenue. But, and a lot of people wanted us to have a separate, you know, kind of thing. We hooked it on to the water bill simply as a matter of convenience and economic need. If we start a whole different process for collecting $10 a month or whatever, that's incredibly expensive. If we have a ballot, if we get a measure where the county has to, all our town gets to vote on it, incredibly expensive. So we were looking for the least expensive way to do it because we are charged with trying to be fiscally responsible for the town. I understand what you're saying about apples and oranges.
Right.
But the apples are already there. And
Right.
so that was just our solution because it was convenient and manageable and cheap.
And I think a topic on the top of the bill from the town of Lakeview for everyone who receives a bill for whatever services it might be, it just should say town of Lakeview city services. And then line items for water, sewer, and if imposed, another fee. But it's the town of Lakeview city fees, or, you know, I mean, it's not strictly just a water bill. We could bill you for whatever fees that we impose. And it is done by other entities here in the state of Oregon, or we wouldn't even have thought about it. We checked it out beforehand, so.
There are so many other cities in Oregon that are going to this because when they did, you know, took away what measure 5 and 50,
Right.
there was such, you know, a detriment on all cities, but small
Well,
cities. I think often
and
get
small cities also are looking at, you know, doing some kind of a combination thing with their sheriff's department too. And doing, you know, having some coverage that way. And I don't know if you've explored that, but somebody did bring that up the last meeting.
I'm working on lots of options right now, so just trying to get it cheap would be good.
Well, if you get, I think most of you know that I've always advocated that all of our department heads live in town. So I was upset when the police chief lived in Bly and was gonna travel back and forth. I'm sorry, but I just, you know, I've always felt that way. But I think at least we could, if we have one that lived in Lake County, might be, save a little bit. You know, maybe that little bit of savings would help to fund another replacement.
Problem is, Maurice, we found the very best man we could, and that's where he wanted to live. And as far as I know, there was not a problem during the time he was here, him being here when he needed to be. But yeah, it would be ideal if you wanted to live here in the town, or live at least, you know, close west side kind of thing like people have. But he was absolutely the best candidate. And so it's hard to turn down the chance to have the best person for the job. Unfortunately, Clackamas decided he was the best person that they had too, and they wanted him back.
Well, if they can afford for him to run back and forth from Bly to Clackamas,
They're huge,
you know,
huge, with amazing tax resources that we don't have.
Okay.
I just got one quick question. I'm Stuart, 429 South Ave. On this $10 fee, I'm still kind of not really for it. However, you say it's for public service fee. So that's basically be debited under one specific column, or it's going to be broken down into its own separate entities like 911, fire department, police department. And if so, what percentage have you assigned per line item out of that $10? And have you thought about that?
Basically, $5 went into police, and then I believe it was 5 that we ended up with 911 because we were so.
So 911 and fire department are the
No.
same?
Yeah.
Well,
No, it was police, $5, and 911. Because right now, we're still able to manage fire.
Oh,
You know.
well, when you said it earlier, it wasn't clarified that you said that we were still losing money over there at the fire hall.
Well,
The fire hall 911, so I was asking, did you
Yeah,
have
it's
3
combined.
separate columns, or was it all going to be lumped together in one column, or how are we going to
Well,
bank
it
that
would
to
be
the
in
account?
each budget.
All right, thank you.
Okay, let's move on to new business now. First line item under new business is the state revenue sharing, public hearing and discussion. That's all I have on this. I can't.
Right, every year we have to have public input if possible, or just council input, basically a public hearing to just discuss our state revenue sharing. We do it before the budget committee, and then you have to make a motion to accept it. That's your state revenue sharing is your cigarette tax, your liquor tax, your marijuana tax, your highway tax that will come into the town. And if we don't make a statement and sign a resolution later that we are going to take that, that's about a lot of money out of our pocket that we don't get. Because on the marijuana alone, I think it's up to about $10,000 this year alone on the marijuana. But on the state highway tax, I mean, it was 130 or something, and I don't know right off my head right now. But those are monies to come in and help us do repairs to our roads. And then the cigarette tax and the liquor tax, that helps us in our general fund. So that's money we receive from the state. It's our portion from the state.
From what you just said, we opened in the public hearing, your official statement.
Do we receive a federal revenue also, or not?
Not like that, huh?
I'm just asking, do we receive any kind of federal revenue for like our federal lands revenue?
No. No, we get a few
We
dollars
apply for
from,
federal loans,
yeah,
USDA federal loans on our sewer.
but it's stuff we have to pay back.
There's no federal lands inside the city limits. So like if you talk about the county revenue.
The county, yeah, I'm talking about this is,
The
I thought this
county
was part of it.
No, county would do revenue.
Yeah.
Where does that motel tax that come in?
We set up a separate fund because it has to be designated in a fund. So it's called the lodging tax, or transient lodging tax
Right.
fund. And so the revenues received off that this year, 70% of it will go back into the community some way, whether it's, tourism, a tourism facility, something that brings in more people, and then 30% can go into the general fund, but a committee has to designate and recommend to the county what we should use it for. So, and it's gonna take probably, we won't see a lot of money till after the first of the year, I don't think. We put in 100,000 this year in anticipation of that. The county gets, with all the county motels, which they have a few more than obviously we have, theirs was 138, 140, something like that. So I brought it down a little bit.
Well, does the state, that 1.8%?
1.8 goes
Does
to
that
the
come-
state.
State
one-
collects it
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah.
It goes straight to the state?
Right, and then the county gets their 6%, and then we get 6%, so.
Okay,
And Lori, since you have contact with so many people, one of the things that we are looking for is people to serve on a committee, sort of like our cultural coalition. but bringing in, you know, some business people and some different ones that are like, we want a motel person, we want some of those people. But we have to have a committee that will decide who gets those funds.
I've been gone, and so I
Yeah.
didn't know you didn't have a committee yet.
Well, we've been advertising.
Well, I realize
And
that.
maybe not everybody
now,
reads the
you know.
paper like you do.
Okay.
But, yeah, we're looking to start a committee that will be in charge of it. But it has to be very careful because it has, that 70% of whatever we get has to go to support tourism in some way. It could, it's out of that 130,000 that the county tax, or approximately whatever that is, a big chunk of that goes to the Chamber of Commerce.
Right.
Because they're required to do the same 70% that we have to do. So we are looking for people to serve on that. So if you know of somebody,
Okay.
let us know.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next item.
Do we need to close the public hearing?
Yeah.
Do we need to make a motion to accept the state revenue sharing? So move that we do accept the state revenue sharing.
Second.
Yeah.
Well, that was,
All in favor?
that was one of the resolutions.
Oh, it is one of the
Okay,
resolutions.
so we
It's just further down
just
on our
jump
list.
down.
It is, but we have to have the public hearing portion.
Okay.
Oh,
And we can leave it
we're
open
just-
until we get to that point.
Yeah.
That's right.
A motion been made.
No, never
No,
know.
we wait. We wait.
We just said that.
You never closed the meeting.
We're just
so-
busy giving you.
Let's move on. Let's go to resolution 934, creation of the lodging tax fund. Do I hear a motion?
I move we approve resolution number 934 in the matter of the creation of the transient lodging tax fund.
I hear a second.
I'll second
Did
that.
I hear transient lodging?
Yes. That's what it's called.
Okay, it wasn't written down here. It just
Sorry, I
says
left
creation
the
of
word out.
lodging tax, but it didn't say transient.
Well, that's on the resolution. You can get a copy if you'd like.
Okay, motion made and second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next one is resolution number 935, election to receive state revenue sharing. I hear a motion on that one.
So I will repeat part of what I said in there. That we approve resolution number 935 in the matter of receiving state revenues for the fiscal year 2018-2019.
Second that.
Motion's made and seconded. Those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Let's move on to resolution 936, making budget appropriations for the year of 2017-18. Do I hear a motion on that one?
I move we approve resolution number 936 in the matter of making the budget appropriations for fiscal year 2017, or, yeah, 2017.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
I have one question. When does the fiscal year start and end for Lakeview?
July 1.
July 1, so wouldn't this be 2018 and 2019 then?
No.
No, this is
Not on this.
going back and
Oh, you're
bringing it
closing
line
out
apart.
last year. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Let's move on to resolution 937.
So you got one in between.
Egg
Well, I
farm
didn't-
proposals.
There's nothing in there.
Okay, that's why I kept looking for it. All right, the FFA Ag Farms Proposal Award. We had two
We got two
proposals. Do I hear recommendation from the council?
I would move that we approve the proposal from Daniel Decker for $54 per ton.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, now we'll move on to resolution 937, adopting the annual operating budget 2018-19. I'll hear a motion on that one.
I move we adopt resolution number 937 in the matter of making and adopting the annual operating budget for the town of Lakeview for the fiscal year 2018-2019, making appropriations, imposing and categorizing taxes and levying taxes.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded, those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And last item, we have the LOC bulletin, extend the back of the book. And any council have any updates?
I do not.
I have none. Okay, hearing none. We will adjourn the council meeting at 4:40.